Morning, everybody.
Morning, Rabbi.
This week's parsha is Parshas Yitro, and it talks about the Jewish people receiving the Torah. And there's a description of the Jewish people before they received the Torah, how they got to Mount Sinai. And one of the verses says as follows: "Vayichan Shom Yisrael neged Ahar." Vayichan means and he rested. Shom over there, Yisrael, Israel, neged Ahar, against the mountain. So if you understand Hebrew, there's one word here that is not necessarily expressing it correctly. Vayichan means and he rested. It should have said Vayachanu, and they rested, plural. It's being used, expressed in a singular form when it should be in a plural, because we're talking about a whole nation. So Rashi, the classical commentary on the Torah, says the words Vayichan Sham Yisrael. What does it mean? Why does it say it in a singular form? Ki ish echad belev echad, one person with one heart. There was a certain level of unity that the Jewish people had at that time, and therefore the Torah describes them as one nation, as one body, as one person. So the way Rashi says it, ki ish echad, as one person, belev echad, with one heart. So first it describes the person, and then it describes the heart. There are other examples of this in the Torah. Another example is from last week's parsha. Vihine Mitzrayim nosea achareim. And behold, Egypt is going after them. Or we'll go in the beginning of the pasuk. Paroi hikruv. Paroi started to gain on them. After the Jewish people left, 3 days later, they told Pharaoh, the guys are not coming back. They took a one-way ticket. They didn't buy a return ticket to come back to Egypt. Pharaoh said, really? Oh boy. So he gathered all his whole army, and everybody all went out. They all went out to chase the Jews. Upari hikr, Pari started to gain, to come closer. Vayisu b'nei Yisrael, the Jewish people picked up their eyes. Vihine, and behold, Mitzrayim nosei achareim. Egypt is traveling after them. But again, if you want to say traveling for a nation, you say nosim. Not nosea. Nosea is one person. Nosim is many people. Why does it say that the Egyptians were as one person when it's a whole nation also that was chasing the Jews? So Rashi says over there, belev echad ki ish echad, with one heart, one person. Not one person, one heart. One heart, one person. Explains, what's the explanation? That their hatred and their point of trying to get the Jews, they all became one. They were really not one, the Egyptians. There were different levels of people there. There were the sorcerers, the great philosophers, the ones that were the smart people, and then there were other people, the simple level of Egyptians. And then there was also Hayare Lidvar Hashem. There were those that actually feared God, as it says by the plagues. Moses came and told people, hey, plagues are coming. The first one, they thought it was funny. But after that, they realized it's not a joke, it's really happening. When they were told, for example, that there will be a plague, and things are going to hail outside, it's going to be some fire, ice coming down, they took the ones that believed in God, they took their animals and their livestock inside their houses. They did not want to lose it. The ones that didn't believe, they lost everything. The ones that had some type of belief, they went in. So there were different levels of Egyptians, all different types of Egyptians. But when it came to chasing the Jews, they all got together. They became one. So it was my enemy's enemy is my friend, right? Or you become friends with somebody as long as both of you have the same enemy. There are different things that bring it together. They're not necessarily together. There's something outside of you that brings it together. So there's a different level of coming together. So Rashi says, belev echad, it was the heart that brought them together. They all had something the same in the heart. They weren't necessarily the same. But when it comes to the Jewish people at Mount Sinai, it says ki ish echad, as one person, and then the heart. What happened over here? What's different? Why is it different? So it's different because they had this understanding of who they are. This is our identity. This is what we are. This is what it's all about. That they were able to put everything aside, and automatically it was ki ish echad belev echad. It was one person. That was the unity, and that was expressed within their love to each other. So they came to understand that this is receiving the Torah and fulfilling God's commandments and following the way of God. That's really who we are. We're all the same in this level. We really come. It's all about doing that. There's one more place that you can see it, which is quite interesting. That it has both. When the Jewish people were at the splitting of the sea, Vayar Yisrael, Vayar is one person, saw. Vayar Yisrael, Israel saw, Vayar Yisrael Mitzrayim, the Egyptians, Meis al Sfas Hayam, that they were dead at the banks of the river, of the sea. Vayiru ha'am, and they, not he, you just said, and he, Israel, saw the Egyptians dead by the splitting of the sea. Vayiru, and they all feared God. Why? Seeing we all saw the same thing. But our feelings, how we are going to express ourselves because of that everybody's different. So when it's talking about a nation, it could be talking about a nation as one, it could be talking about a nation as plural, depending on what you're emphasizing. You're emphasizing the action, or you're emphasizing how everybody does it. How everybody does it different. What everybody is doing is the same. So we all saw the same thing as one person, but we feared God in all different ways. Everybody had their level of expressing it. Hashem should help. We should be able to see that we're really one. We should be able to be one, and we should be able to connect with that with the one God. B'karev mamish. Amen.